Therefore, brave conquerors, for so you are, that war against your own affections and the huge army the world's desires, our late edict shall strongly stand in force. Navarre shall be the wonder of the world. Our court shall be a little academy, still in contemplative and living art. You three have sworn for 3 years' term to live with me, my fellow students. Barone, yeah! Dumaine, woo! Yeah! And Longaville, yeah! And to keep those statutes that are recorded in the schedule here. Your depots are passed, and now subscribe your names. May his honor break down his art that violates the smallest branch herein. If you're armed to do as sworn to do, subscribe to your depots and keep them too.
I am resolved. 'Tis but a 3 years fast. Mine shall banquet through the body pine. Fat paunches have lean pates, and dainty bits make rich the ribs, but bankrupt quite the wits.
My lovely lord, Dumaine is mortified. The grosser manner of these world's light he throws upon the gross world's baser slaves. To love, to boast, to pomp, I pine and die with all these living philosophy.
I can but say their protestation over. So much, my dear liege, I have already sworn. That is, to live and study here 3 years. But there are other strict observances, as to not see a woman in that time, which I hope well is not enrolled there, and on 1 day a week to touch no food, and but 1 meal on each day beside, the which I hope is not enrolled there, and to sleep but 3 hours in the night, and not to be seen to wink of all the day, when I was wont to think of no harm all night, and to make a dark night too of half the day, which I hope well is not enrolled there. But these are barren tasks, too hard to keep. Not to see ladies, study fast, not sleep.
Your oaths are past to pass away with these.
Let me say no, my liege, and if you please, I only swore to study with your grace and stay here in your court for 3 years' space.
You swore to that Barone and to the rest.
By yea and nay, sir, that I swore in jest. What is the end of study? Let me know.
Why, that which you know, which we shall not know.
Things hidden bargaining from common sense?
'Tis study's godlike recompense.
Come on, then, I will swear to study so. To know the thing I am forbid to know. As thus, to study where I well may dine, when I to feast expressly am forbid. Or to study where to find some mistress find, when mistresses from common sense are hid. Or, having sworn too hard at keeping oath, study to break it, and not break my troth. If study's gain be thus, and this be so, study knows that which yet it doth not know. Swear me to this, and I will ne'er say no.
How well he's read, to reason against reading.
Proceed well to stop a good proceeding.
He weeds the corn and still lets grow the weeding.
The spring is near when grain geese are breeding.
How follows that?
Fit in his place and time.
And reason nothing.
Something then in line.
Barone is like an envious steeping frost that bites the firstborn infants of the spring.
Well, say I am. Why should proud summer boast before the birds have any just cause to sing? Why should I joy in any abortive birth? At Christmas time, I no more desire a rose than wish for a snow in May's newfangled mirth. But like of each thing that in season grows, so you to study is too late. Climb o'er the house to unlock the little gate.
Well, sit you out then. Go home, Barone. Adieu.
No, my lord, I have sworn to stay with you, and though I have spoken more for barbarous and more than that angel knowledge you can say, yet confident I'll keep what I swore, and by dependence of each 3 years' stay. Give me the paper, and I'll read the same, and to the strictest decrees I'll sign my name.
How well this yielding rescues thee from shame.
Item, that no woman shall come within a mile of my court. Hath this been proclaimed?
4 days ago.
Let's see the penalty. On pain of losing her tongue. Who devised this penalty?
Marry, that I did.
Sweet Lord and why?
To fright them hence with that dread penalty.
A dangerous law against gentility. Item, if any man is to be seen to come within a mile of my court, he shall endure such public shame as the rest of the court could possibly devise. This article, my liege, yourself must break. For, well, you know, here comes an embassy, the French king's daughter, with yourself to speak, a maid of grace and complete majesty, about to render up of Aquitaine. Therefore, this article was made in vain, or vainly comes the admired princess hither.
What say you, lords? Why, this was quite forgot.
So, study evermore is overshot. While it doth study to do what it would, it doth forget to do the thing it should. And When it hath what it hunted most, 'tis one as towns with fire, so won, so lost.
We must have forced dispense with this decree. She was lying here on mere necessity.
Necessity will make us all forsworn 3,000 times within this 3-year space. For every man with his effects is born not by might master, but by special grace. If I break faith, this word shall speak for me. I am forsworn on mere necessity. And to the laws at large, I write my name. And he who breaks them in the least decree shall stand in attainder for eternal shame. Suggestions are to other as to me, but I think, though I seem to low, I am the last who will last keep his oath. But is there no quick recreation granted?
Aye, that there is. Our court, you know, is haunted with the most refined traveler of Spain. A man in all the world's new fashion that hath a mint of phrases in his brain, one whom the music of his own vain tongue doth ravish like enchanting harmony. A man of compliments who, right and wrong, have chosen umpire of their mutiny. In high-born words the worth of many a night that our motto hight. I know not how you lords delight, but I love to see him live, shall use him for my minstrelsy.
Armato's a most illustrious wight, a man of fire noon words, fashion's own knight.
And cost her this way. He shall be our sport, and so to study 3 years is but short.
Which is the Duke's own person?
This fellow, what was?
I myself reprehend his own person, for I am his Grace's star-bearer, but I would see his own person in flesh and blood.
This is he.
Signor Clemency, there's villainy abroad. This letter will tell you more.
So the contents there are is touching me.
A letter from the magnificent Armada.
I hope in God for high words.
I hope for a low heaven. God grant us patience.
To hear or forbear laughing.
To hear meekly, sir, and to laugh moderately, or to forbear both.
Well, sir, be it as the style shall give us cause to climb in the merriness.
We hear these words with attention.
As we would hear an oracle.
Such is the simplicity of a man to hearken after the flesh.
Great deputy, the welcome's vicegerent and sole dominator of Navarre, my soul's earth's god and body's fostering patron.
Not a word of custard yet.
So it is.
If you say it so, it may be so, and telling true, but so.
Peace.
To be me, and every man who dares not fight.
No words.
Of other men's secrets I beseech you.
So it is besieged with sable-colored melancholy. I did commend the black depressing humor at the most wholesome physic of thy health-giving air, and as I in a judgment betook myself to walk. The time when, about the 6th hour, when beasts most graze, birds best peck, and men sit down to that nourishment which is called supper, so much for the time when, now the ground which I mean I walked upon, it is cleped thy park. Then I mean, for the place where I did encounter that obscene and preposterous event that draweth from my snow-white pen the ebon-colored ink, which thou here viewest, beholdest, surveyest, or seest, but to the place where it standeth northeast, and to the east from the west corner of thy curious knotted garden, there did I see that low-spirited swain, that base middle of thy mirth.
Me?
That unlettered, small-knowing soul.
Me?
That shallow vassal.
Still me?
Which, as I remember, hight co-star.
Oh, me!
Sorted and consorted, contrary to thy established proclaimed edict and continent canon, which but with this I passion to say wherewith,
With the wench!
with the child of our grandmother Eve, a female, or, with more thy sweet understanding, a woman. Him I, as my ever-esteemed duty pricks me on, have sent to thee to receive the meed of punishment by thy sweet graced officer, Anthony Dole, a man of good repute, carriage, bearing, and estimation.
Me, and shall please you, I am Anthony Dove.
For Jacquinetta, so is the weaker vessel called, which I apprehended with the aforesaid swain. I keep her as a vessel of the law's fury, and shall, at the least of thy sweet notice, bring her to trial, thine in all compliments of devoted and heart-burning heat of duty, thine Anthony de Armada.
It's not so well as I had hoped for, but the best that ever I have heard.
Aye, the best for the worst. But what say you, this, Sierra?
Sir, I confess the wench.
Did you not hear the proclamation?
I do confess much of hearing, but little of marking it.
It was proclaimed a year's imprisonment to be taken with the wench.
I was taken none, sir. I was taken with a damsel.
It was so very damsel.
This was no damsel neither, sir. She was a virgin.
Was also proclaimed virgin.
Well, if I were to deny my virginity, then I was taken with a maid.
This maid will not serve your turn, sir.
This maid will serve my turn.
I will now pronounce your sentence. You had a fast to leave with bread and water.
I'd rather pray a month of wine and porridge.
And Donna Milo shall be your keeper. My Lord Brown, see him the Lord, and go we lords to put into practice that which we have so faithfully sworn.
I'll lay my head to any good man's hat. These oaths and laws will prove idle scorn. Sirrah, come on.
I suffer for the truth, sir, concerning Jacqueline. Yes, I was taken with her, but Jacqueline was a true girl, and therefore I welcome the sour cup of prosperity. Affliction made anyone smile again. Until then, sit down, ye sorrow.
Boy, what sign is it when a man of great spirit grows melancholy?
A great sight, sir, that he will look sad.
Why, sadness is one and the self-same thing, dear Anne.
No, oh Lord, sir, no.
How canst thou part sadness and melancholy, my tender juvenile?
By a familiar demonstration of the working, my tough senior.
Why, tough senior, why, tough senior?
Why tender juvenile, why tender juvenile?
I spoke it, tender juvenile, as a congruent epithet appertaining to thy young days, which we may nominate tender.
And I, tough senior, as an impertinent title to your old time, which we may name tough.
Pretty and apt.
How mean you, sir? I pretty in my saying apt, or apt in my saying pretty?
Thou pretty because little.
Little pretty because little, wherefore apt?
Therefore apt because quick.
Speak you this in my praise, master.
In thy condign praise.
I will praise an eel with the same praise.
What, that an eel is ingenious?
That an eel is quick.
I do say, thou art quick in answers. Thou heatest my blood.
I am answered, sir.
I love not to be crossed.
He speaks the mere contrary. He crosses love, not him.
I have promised to study 3 years with you.
You may do it in an hour, sir.
Impossible.
How many is one price told?
I am ill at reckoning. It fitteth the spirit of a tapster.
You are a gentleman and a gamester, sir.
I confess both the varnish of a complete man.
Then I am sure you know how much the gross sum of deuce ace amounts to,
I doth amount to one more than two.
which the base vulgar do call three.
True.
Why, sir, is it such a piece of study? Now here is three studied, here yield thrice link, and how easy it is to put years to the word three and study 3 years of 2 words. The dancing horse will tell you.
A most fine figure.
To prove you a cipher.
I will hereupon confess I am in love. As it is base for a soul to love, I am in love with base wench. If drawing my sword against the humor of my affection would deliver me from the reprobate thought of it, I will take desire prisoner and ransom him to any French courtier for a new devised courtesy. I think scorn to sigh. Methinks I should outswear Cupid. Comfort me, boy, what great men have been in love.
Hercules, master.
Most sweet Hercules, more authority, dear boy. Say more, and sweet my child, let them be men of good repute and carriage.
Samson, master. He was a man of good carriage, great carriage, for he carried the town gates on his back like a porter. He was in love.
Oh, well-knit Samson, strong-jointed Samson, I do excel thee in my rapier, as much as thou didst me in carrying gates. I am in love too. Who was Samson's love, my dear mom?
A woman, master.
Of what complexion?
Of all the 4, or the 3, or the 2, or one of the 4.
Tell me precisely of what complexion.
The seawater green, sir.
Is that one of the 4 complexions?
As I have read, sir, and the best of them too.
Green indeed is the color of lovers, but to have loved that color, methinks Samson had small reason for it. He surely affected her for her wit.
It was so, sir, for she had a green wit.
My love is most immaculate, white and red.
Most immaculate thoughts, master, are masked under such colors.
Define, well-educated infant.
My father's wit and mother's tongue assist me.
Sweet invocation of a child, most pretty and pathetic.
If she be made of white and red, her fault will never be known. For blushing cheeks by faults of red, and fears by pale white shine.
Then if she fear or be to blame, by this you shall not know, for still her cheeks possess the same which native she doth own. A dangerous rhyme, master, against the reason of white and red.
Is there not a ballad, boy, of the king and the beggar?
The world was very guilty of such a ballad some 3 ages since, but I think now 'tis not to be found, or if it were, it would neither serve for the writing nor the tune.
I'll have the subject in newly written order, so that I may example my digression. Boy, I do love that country girl I took to the park with that rational high postcard. She deserves well.
To be whipped, you had better love than a master.
Sing, boy, when my heart grows heavy in love.
And that's great marvel, loving a light wench.
I say sing.
For bear shall this company be cast.
Sir, the Duke's pleasure is that you keep Costard safe, and that you must suffer him to take no penance nor no delight, but I must keep him, but he must fast 3 days a week. As for this damsel, I'll keep her in the park. She is allowed for the day. Very well.
I do betray myself a blushing maid.
Man,
I will visit the other lodge.
that's hereby.
I know where it is situated.
Lord, how wise you are.
I will tell you wonders.
With that face,
I won't be.
so I've heard.
And so, farewell.
Fair weather after you.
Come, Jacqueline, away. Yeah?
Villain, thou shalt fast for thy offenses, ere thou be pardoned.
Sir, I hope when I do it, I shall do it on full stomach.
Thou shalt be heavily punished.
I am about you, then your fellows over there were lightly rewarded.
Take this villain away, shut him up.
Come, transgressing slave, away!
Let me not be pent up, sir. I will fast be loose.
No, sir, it will fast and loose, though shut in prison.
Well, then I hope when I do see the merry days of desolation, I shall see what some shall see.
What shall some see?
Nay, nothing, Master Law. But what they look upon is not the prisoners to be too quiet in the words, and therefore I can say nothing. I thank God I have his patience with another man, and therefore I can be quiet.
I do affect the very ground, which is base. Wear a shoe, which is baser, guided by my foot, which is basest. Doth tread, I shall be forsworn, which is argument of falsehood, if I love. And how can that be true love, which is falsely tempted? Love is a familiar. Love is a devil. There is no evil angel but love. Yet was Samson so tempted, and he had an excellent strength. Yet was Solomon so seduced, he had a very good wit. Cupid's butt shaft was too hard for Hercules' club, and therefore too much odds for the Spaniard's rapier. The first and second cause will not serve my turn. The passero he respects not, the duo he regards not. His disgrace is to be called boy, but his glory is to subdue men. I do, valor, rust, rapier. Be still, Trump, for your manager is in love. Yea, he loveth. Assist me with some extemple god of rhyme, for I am sure I shall turn sonnet. Devise, wit, write, pen, for I am whole volumes in folio.
Now, madam, summon a few of your spirits and present to the king. Your father sends, to whom he sent, and for what his embassy. Your eyes held in the world of esteem, parlay with the sole inheritor of all perfections that man may owe. Matchless Navarre, the plea of unto no less weight than appertain, a dowry for the queen, be now as prodigal of our due graces as nature was in making graces dear. General world beside, and part of them give them all to you.
Good Lord Boyette, my beauty, though but mean, needs not the painted flourish of your praise. Beauty is bought by judgment of the eye, not uttered by base sale of chaplain's tongues. I am less proud to hear you tell my worth than you be willing to be counted wise in spending your wit in the praise of mine. But now to task the tasker. Good Boyette, you are not ignorant. All telling fame doth noise abroad. Navarre hath made a vow. Till painful study shall outwear 3 years, no woman may approach his silent court. Therefore, to seemeth it a needful course, before we enter his forbidden gates, to know his pleasure. And in that daughter of the King of France, on serious business, craving quick dispatch, importunes personal conference with his grace. Haste signifies so much, while we attend like humble visaged suitors his high will.
Proud of employment, willingly I will go.
All pride is yours, pride, and yours is so. Who are the votaries, my loving lords, that are vow fellows with this virtuous duke?
Lord Longville is one.
Know you the man?
I know, madam, at a marriage feast. Between Lord Paracourt and the beauteous hair of Jack's Falconbridge solemnized in Normandy side of this Longville. A man of sovereign parts he's esteemed, wolfen in arts, glorious in arms. Nothing becomes him all that he would well. The only soil of his fair virtue's gloss, if fair virtue's gloss is stained with any soil, is a sharp wit matched with too blunt a will, whose edge hath power to cut, whose will stills wills, and shall spare none that come within his power.
Some merry mocking lord belike is so.
They say that most is humors now.
Such short-lived wits do wither as they grow. Who are the rest?
The young humane, a well-accomplished youth, of all virtue love and virtue love, most power to do most harmless knowing ill, for he hath wit to make an ill shape good, and shape to win grace, for he hath no way. I met him at the Duke Alencon's once, and much too little of that good I saw is my report of his great worthiness.
Another of these students at the time was there with him, if I've heard the truth. Baron they call him, but a merrier man within the limit of plain mirth. I never spent an hour's talk with all his eye being as occasion for his wit. For every object that the one doth catch, the other turns to a mirth-moving jest, which his tongue, conceits expositor, delivers in such apt and gracious words that aged ears play trot at his tales, and younger hearings are quite ravished. So sweet and voluble is his discourse.
God bless my ladies. Are they all in love, that everyone her own hath garnished such bedecking ornaments of praise?
Here comes Boyette.
Now, what it is, lord?
Now, Navarre had notice of, and I quote, your fair approach, and he and his competitors in oath were all interested to meet you, gentle lady. At least, that's what I was told. But he rather means to lodge you in a field, much like one that comes to beseech his court, then seek a dispensation for his oath and let you into his unpeopled house. Here comes Navarre. Fair princess, welcome to the court of the bar.
Fair, I give you back again, and welcome I have not yet. The roof of this court is too high to be yours, and welcome to the wide fields too base to be mine.
You shall be welcome, madam, to my court.
I will be welcome then. Conduct me thither.
Hear me, lady. I've sworn no.
Our lady, help my lord. He'll be forsworn.
Not for the world, madam, by my will.
Why will shall break it? Will and nothing else.
Your ladyship's ignorant what it is.
Were my lord so, his ignorance were wise, but now his knowledge must prove ignorance. I hear your grace hath sworn on housekeeping. 'Tis deadly sin to keep that oath, my lord, and sin to break it. Pardon me, I am too sudden bold. To teach a teacher ill beseemeth me. Vouchsafe to read the purpose of my coming, and suddenly resolve me in my suit.
Madam, I will, if suddenly I may.
You will the sooner that I were away, for you'll prove perjured if you make me stay.
Did not I dance with you in rabbit once?
Oh, did not I dance with you, Robert, once?
I know you did.
How needless was then to ask the question.
You must not be so quick.
'Tis long of you to spur me with such questions.
Your wit's too hot, it speeds too fast, will tire.
Not to leave the rider in the mire.
At what time of day?
Oh, the hour that fools should ask.
Now fair with all your rights.
Fair fall the face it covers.
And send you many lovers.
Amen, so you be none.
Nay then, will I be gone?
Madam, your father here doth intimate the payment of 100,000 crowns, being but the one half of the entire sum disbursed by my father in his wars. But say that here we as neither have received that sum. Yet there remains unpaid 100,000 more, and surety of the which part of that pertain is bound to us, although not valued to the money's worth, which we would much rather depart with on half the money by our father lent than Aquitaine so gelded as it is. Dear princess, quest so far from reason's yielding, your own fair self should make some yielding against the reason in my breast, and go well satisfied to France again.
You do the king my father too much wrong, and wrong the reputation of your name, and so unseeming to confess receipt of that which hath so faithfully been paid.
I do protest I never heard of it, but if you prove it so, I shall happily repay it back or yield it back to you.
We arrest your word. Boyette, you can't produce acquaintances with such a sum from special officers of Charles's father.
Satisfy me so. See, the packet is not come, but tomorrow you shall have sight of it. It shall suffice. At which interview all liberal reason I shall yield unto. Meantime, receive such welcome by my hand as honor without breach of honor may make tender of thy true worthies. You may not come, fair princess, in my gates, but here without you shall be so received as you shall deem yourself lodged in my heart, though so denied fair harbor in my house. Your own good thoughts excuse me, and farewell. Tomorrow we shall visit you again.
Sweet health and fair desires consort your grace.
Thy own wish which I thee in every place.
Lady, I will commend thee to mine own heart.
Oh, pray you, do my commendations. I would be glad to see it.
I would, you heard it groan.
Oh, is the fool sick?
Sick at the heart.
Alack, let it blood.
Would that do it good?
My physic says I.
Would you prick it with your eye?
No, point with my knife.
Now, God save thy life.
And yours from long living.
I cannot stay Thanksgiving.
Sir, I pray you a word. Sir, I pray you would ladies that same.
The heir of Alencombe, Catherine her name.
Gallant lady, monsieur, fare you well. I beseech you a word. What is she in the white?
A lady sometimes, and you seen her in the light.
Perchance light in the light, I desire her name.
She hath but one for herself to decide that for shame.
Pray you, sir, whose daughter?
Her mother's, I've heard.
God's blessing on your beard.
Good sir, be not offended, she's the heir of Falconbridge.
Nay, my collar is ended. She's a most sweet lady.
Not unlike so that may be.
Good sir, what's her name in the cap?
Rosaline by good hap.
Is she wedded or no?
To her will or so.
You're welcome, sir. Adieu.
Farewell to me, sir, and hello to you.
Alas, Verone, the merry madcap lord, not a word with him but a jest.
And every jest but a word.
It was well done of you to take him at his word.
I was willing to grapple as he was to board.
Two hot cheeks married.
And wherefore not ships, not sheep, sweet lamb, unless we feed on your lips.
You sheep and I pasture, shall that finish the jest?
So you grant me pasture.
Oh, not so, gentle beast. My lips are no common, though several they be.
Belonging to whom?
To my fortunes and me.
Good wits will be jangling, but gentles agree. This civil war of wits were better used on Navarre and his bookmen, for here 'tis abused.
If my observations, which very seldom lies, are the heart-still rhetoric disclosed in his eyes, Navarre is infected.
With what?
What we lovers call affect.
Your reason?
Well, all his behaviors did make their retire to the court of his eyes, peeping through desire, his heart like an agate, with your print impressed, proud of his form and his eyes pride did express, his tongue all impatient to speak and not to see, did stumble with haste in his eyesight to be. All senses that senses did make their repair, were locked in his eyes as jewels and crystals for some prince to buy, who tendering their own worth from where they were blast, did point you to buy them as you walked past. His face, Mark did quote such amazes that all I saw his eyes enchanted with gazes. I'll keep you off if you give him just this. Give him but one loving kiss.
Poor pavilion, Boyette is disposed.
His eyes is closed. I merely gave his eyes a mouth that I know will not lie.
Thou art an old love-monger and speakest skillfully. Here's Cupid's grandfather learns news of it. Then was Venus like her mother, for her father was but grim.
Do you hear me, my mad wenches?
No.
Then what do you see?
Hi, our way to be gone.
You are too hard for me.
Horrible child. You may passionate my sense of hearing.
Call me down.
Sweet air. Go, tenderness of years. Take this key. Give enlargement to the swain. Fetch him festively hither. You must employ via letter to my love.
Master, will you win your love with a French brawl?
How meanest thou, brawling in French?
No, my complete master. But to jig off a tune at the tongue's end, canary to it with your feet, humor it with turning up your eyelids, sigh a note and sing a note, sometimes through the throat as if you swallowed love with singing love, sometimes through the nose as if you snuffed up love by smelling love, with your hat penthouse-like over the shop of your eyes, with your arms crossed and your thin belly doubled like a rabbit on a spit, or with your hands in your pocket like a man after the old painting. And keep not too long in one tune, but a snip and away. These are compliments. These are humors. These betray nice wenches that would be betrayed without these, and make them men of note. Do you note me? That most are affected to these.
How hast thou purchased this experience?
By my penny of observation.
But oh.
The hobby horse is forgot.
Callest thou my love hobby horse?
No, master, the hobby horse is but a colt, and your love perhaps a hackney. Have you forgot your love?
Almost I had.
Negligent student, learn her by heart.
By heart and in heart, boy.
And out of heart, master, all those three I will prove.
What wilt thou prove?
A man, if I live, and this, by, in, and without, upon the instant. By heart you love her, because your heart cannot come by her. In heart you love her, because your heart is in love with her. And out of heart you love her, being out of heart that you cannot enjoy her.
I am all these three.
And 3 times as much more, and yet nothing at all.
Fetch hither this swain. He must carry me a letter.
A message well sympathized, a horse to be ambassador for an ass.
What sayest thou?
You must send the ass up on the horse, for he is very slow-gaited, but I go.
That way is but short a way.
As swift as lead, sir.
The meaning, pretty ingenious. Is lead not a metal, heavy, dull, and slow?
Mini-me, honest master, or rather, master, no.
I say lead is slow.
You were too swift to say so. Is that lead slow which is fired from a gun?
Sweet smoke of rhetoric, he reputes me a cannon. The bullet, that's he, I shoot thee at the swain.
That's the nice way.
The most acute juvenile, voluble, free of grace. By thy virtue's sweet welcome I must sigh in thy face. Most rude melancholy, if thou Lord give thee place. My herald is returned. Herald?
Wonder, master, here's a coast guard and open an extra.
Some riddle, come, thy lone boy, again.
No enigma, no riddle, and boy, no salve with a mail, sir, but a plantain. A plantain. No enigma, no boy, no solve.
By virtue thou enforced laughter, thy silly thought, my spleen. The heaving of my lungs provokes ridiculous smiling. Oh, pardon me, my stars. Doth the inconsiderate take a salve for a Lenvoy, and Lenvoy for a salve?
Do I mistake the mother? Is not one boy self?
No, page, it is an epilogue of discourse. To make thee plain, some obscure precedent hath tofore been saved. I'll example it. The fox, the ape, and the humble bee were still at odds, being but 3. There's the moral. Now the Lenvoy.
Oh, Evelyn boy, say the moral again.
The fox, the ape, and the humble bee were still at odds, being but 3.
Until the goose came out of door and stayed the odds by adding 4. Now I will begin your Lund boy, and do you follow with my moral? The fox, the ape, and the humble bee were still at odds, being but 3.
Until the goose came out of doors, staying the odds by adding 4.
A good Lund boy ending in the goose. Would you desire more?
The boy had told him a bargain. That's flat. And sir, your pennyworth be good, and your goose be fat. To sell him a bargain well is cunning and fast. Let me see a fat little boy. Aye, that's a fat goose.
Come hither. How did this argument begin?
By saying that a good card was broken in a shin, then called you for the Lund boy.
True, and I for a plantain. And thus came your argument in. The boy had told you a goose, the goose that he bought, and then he had ended the market.
But tell me, how is there a costard broken in shin?
I will tell you sensibly.
Thou hast so few a little bit, Master Ma. I, Costard, will speak on that little boy. I was running safely within. Thou hast the threshold and broken my shin.
We will talk no more of this matter.
Till it's more matter in the shin.
Sirrah, costard, I will enfranchise thee.
I marry me to one Francis, I still some little boy, some goose in this.
By my sweet soul, I mean setting thee at liberty, and freeing thy person. Thou wert a murderer, restrained, captivated, bound.
True, and you shall be my frigate ten. Let me loose.
I give thee my liberty, and set thee from durance, and will therefore impose on nothing but this, bear this sentence to the country page Jacqueminetta. This is a remuneration for my own honor regarding my dependence. Mom, follow.
Like the sequel, I, Senor Star, adieu.
My sweet ounce of man's flesh, my agony Jew. Now I am looked to as remuneration. Remuneration. Why, that's the Latin word for 3 penny farthings. How much is this, Uncle? 1 penny. Nay, I shall give you remuneration. Why, it carries it. This word is much better than a French crown. I will never buy or sell out of this word.
Oh, my good knave could start exceedingly well met.
Pray you, sir, how much can a sheriff may a man buy for remuneration?
What's a remuneration?
3 penny farthings.
Why then 3 farthing worth of silk.
Thank you. Your worship, God be with you.
Stay, slave, for I must employ thee, for thou wilt earn my favor. Good, my knave. Do one thing that I shall entreat for you.
When will you have it done, sir?
This afternoon.
Well, I will have it done by then. I will have...
Thou knowest not what it is.
I shall know when I have it done, sir.
Why, villain, thou must know first.
I shall have your worship done tomorrow morning.
It must be done this afternoon. Hark, slave, it is but this. The princess comes to hunt here in the park, and in her train there comes a gentle lady. When tongues speak sweetly, they name her name, and Rosaline they call her. Ask for her, and see thou do command the sealed up counsel. Go, there's thy burden.
Oh, Gardon, oh, sweet Gardon, my 11 pence farthing better than remuneration. Thank you, sir, I will do it in a pinch. Gardon, remuneration.
And I, forsooth in love, I that have been love's wit, a very beadle to a humorous eye, a critic nay a night watch constable, a domineering pedant over the boy. Oh, my little heart, and I to be a corporal of his fields, and to wear his colors like a tumbler's hoop. What I love, I sue, I seek a wife. Nay, to be perjured, which is worst of all, and of 3, to love the worst of all. A whitely wanted with a velvet brow, with 2 pitch balls stuck in her head for eyes. Nay, I will write, sigh, sue and groan, for some men must love my lady, and some Joan.
Was that the king that spurred his horse so hard against the steep uprising of the hill?
I know not, but I think it was not he.
Well, whoever it was showed a mountain climb. Well, lords, today we shall have our dispatch. On Saturday we shall return to France. Then, Forrester, tell me, where is the bush where we must stand and play the murderer in?
Hereby, upon the edge of yonder coppice, a stand where you may make a fair shoot.
I thank my beauty, I am fair that shoot, and thereupon thou speakst the fairest shoot.
Pardon me, madam, for I put not so.
What? What? First praise me and again say no? Oh, short-lived pride, not fair, a laugh for woe.
Yes, madam, fair.
Nay, never paint me now. Where fair is not, praise cannot mend the brow. Here, good my glass, take this for telling true. Fair payment for foul words is more than due.
Nothing but fair is that which you inherit.
See, my beauty will be saved by merit. Oh, heresy and fair fit for these days. My giving hand, though foul, will have their praise. But come, the bow. Now mercy goes to kill, and shooting well is then account ill. Thus, I will save my credit in this shoot. Not wounding, pity would not let me do it. If wounding, then your word showed my skill. That more for praise than purpose meant to kill. And out of question, so it is sometimes, glory grows guilty of detested crimes. When for fame's sake, for praise, an outward part, we bend to that the working of the heart. As I for praise alone thou seek to spill the poor dear's blood, that my heart means no ill.
Do not press so lives as thou, it is only a Lord over time.
Well, for praise alone, and praise we may afford to any lady that subdues a lord.
Here comes a member of the Commonwealth.
Pray you, God take you done all, pray you, which is the head lady?
Thou shalt know her fellow by the rest that have no heads.
Which is the greatest lady, the highest?
The thickest and the tallest.
The thickest and the tallest. It is so. Truth is truth. And your waist, miss, be as slender as my wit. And one of these maids' girdles your waist should fit. Are you not the chief lady? You are the biggest here.
Well, what's your will, sir? What's your bill?
I have a letter here from Monsieur Baron.
Oh, my letter. He is a good friend of mine. Step aside, good bear. Boyette, you can carve. Bring out this pattern.
I am bound to serve. I see it was not written anyone here, but instead written Jacquelinetta.
Well, we will read it, I swear. Come, everyone give here.
By heaven that thou art fair is most infallible. True that thou art beauteous, truth itself that thou art lovely. More fair than fair, beautiful than beauteous, taller than truth itself, have commiseration on his heroical vassal. Oh, this handwriting's atrocious. Blah, 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 yada, yada, etc. Shall I command thy love? I may. Shall I enforce thy love? I could. Shall I entreat thy love? I will. Thus, expecting thy reply, I profane my lips on thy foot. My eyes on thy picture, and my heart on thy every part. Thine the design of industry, Don Adriano de Armada. Thus thou hear the Nemean lion roar against thee, thou lamb that stands at his prey, submissive to all his princely feet before, and he from forge will incline to play. But if thou strive for soul, what art thou then? Food for his rage, repasture for his death.
What plume of feathers has he had indited this letter? What vein, what weathercock? Did you ever hear better?
I know not, but I remember the style.
Else your memory is bad, going over it erewhile. Huh. Now, fellow, a word. Who gave thee this letter?
I told you, my lord.
Well, to whom shouldst thou give it?
From my lord to my lady.
From which lord to which lady?
From my lord Baron, a good master of mine, to a lady of France he called Rosaline.
This letter is mistook. Well, come, lord's way. Here, sweet, take up this. We'll be night another day.
Who is the student? Who is the student?
Shall I teach you to know?
I might not to be.
Why, she that bears the bow. Finally put off.
Well, if she who bears the bow, then who is your dear?
If we choose by the horns, you yourself come not near.
Ah.
Finally put on indeed.
You still wrangle for Boyette when she strikes at the brow.
Well, if someone's hit her lower, can I hit her now?
Shall I come upon thee with an old saying? That was a man when King Pepin of France was just a little boy, as touching the hit it.
Then may I come at you with one just as old when Queen Guinevere was just a little wench, as touching the hit it.
Thou canst not hit it, hit it, hit it. Thou canst not hit it, my good man.
And I cannot, another can.
How pleasant, how pleasant and fit.
A mark marvelous well shot, for they both did hit it.
A mark that I did hit.
Wide on the bow hand, in faith your hand is out.
And if in faith my hand is out, then because your hand is in.
Indeed, you must shoot nearer, will never hit the cloud. You guys must not let her get the upshot, or she'll get hit by the clean pin.
Come, talk greasily, your lips grow foul.
She's too hard at your tricks. You must challenge her to a bowl.
I fear too much rubbing. Good night, Mr. Owl.
By my soul, most simple clown. Lord, how the ladies and I had put him down. Oh, how smoothly it went off. And so obscene it were so fit. I would on the one side, a most dainty man, to see a woman and to bear her fan, to see him kiss his hand. I most sweetly swear, on his page the other side, that handful of wit, ah, that heavens, the path of it, Salah, Salah!
The testimony of a good conduct.
The dear was, St. Niece of blood, bright as the Po water, who now hangeth like a jewel on the air of Calo, sky with the welcome the heavens, and anon falleth like a crab on the face of Terra, soil, the lamp, the earth.
Truly, Master Lofredis, the epithets are sweetly varied, like a scholar at the least. But, sir, I assure you, it was a buck of the first head.
Nathaniel, hod credo.
'Twas not an odd credo, 'twas a cricket.
Most barbarous intimation, yet a kind of insinuation, as it were, via into way of explication, faceta, as it were, replication, or rather, rosentare, to show, as it were, his inclination, after his undressed, unpolished, uneducated, unpruned, untrained, or rather unlettered, or rather unconfirmed fashion to insert again my hod credo for a deer.
I said that it was not a great 'twas a cricket.
Twice saw simplicity as cactus. O thou monster ignorance, how deformed dost thou look?
Sir, he hath never fed of the dainties that are bred in a book. He hath not eat paper, as it were. He hath not drunk ink. His intellect is not replenished. He is only an animal, only sensible in the duller parts. And such barren plants are set before us that we thankful should be, which we of taste and feeling are, for those parts which do fructify in us more than he. For as it would ill become me to be vain and discreet or a fool, so were there a patch on learning to see him in a school. But only bene say I, big and old father's mind. Many can brook the weather, but love not the wind.
You two are bookmen. Can you tell me by your wit what was a month old as it came to birth, that is not 5 weeks old as yet?
Dictina, good mantle.
Huh?
Dictina, good mantle.
What is the Tina?
Title to thee.
Who?
To Luna.
What?
To the moon.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
The moon was a month old when Adam was no more, and brought not to 5 weeks when he came to 5 score. The illusion holds in the exchange.
'Tis true, the collusion holds in exchange.
God comfort thy capacity. I say the illusion holds in the exchange.
And I say the pollution holds in exchange. For the moon is never but a month old, and besides that, 'twas a cricket that the princess killed.
Sir Nathaniel, will hear an extempore epitaph on the death of the deer, and, to humor the ignorant, call I the deer the princess called the cricket?
Very good, Master Lopez. Very. So it shall please you to abrogate scurrility.
I will something affect the letter, for it argues facility. The prayful princess pierced and pricked a pretty pleasing cricket. Some say a sword, but not a sword, till now might soar with shooting. The dogs yell, out the soar, the people follow hooting. Or cricket soar, or else sorrel, the people follow hooting. If soar be soar, then else soar makes 50 soars one sorrel. Of one soar I add 100 make by adding the one more L.
A rare talent. And if talent be a claw, see how he claws him with the talent.
This gift I have is simple, simple. A foolish, extravagant spirit, full of forms, figures, shapes, objects, ideas, apprehensions, motions, revolutions. These are begot in the ventricle of memory, nourished in the womb of pia matter, delivered upon the mellowing of occasion. But the gift is good in those in whom it is acute. I am thankful for it.
Sir, I praise the Lord for you, and so may my parishioners, for their sons are well tutored by you, and their daughters profit very greatly under you. You are a good member of the Commonwealth.
Herkel, if their sons be ingenious, they shall want no instructions. If their daughters be capable, I would put it to them, but these have me keep out what good. Us all feminine saluted us.
God give you good morrow, Master Parson.
Master Parson, quasi person. And if one should be piercing, which is the one?
Marry Master Master, he is likeness to a hog's head.
Piercing a hog's head, a good luster of conceit and a tuft of earth. Fire enough for flint, pearl enough for a swine. 'Tis pretty as well.
Good Master Parson, let this be as good as read this letter to me. Was given to me by Costard and sent to me from Don Armado. I beseech you, read it.
Faustic record da quando omnes umbra sum umbra luminat. So forth. Ah, good old Mantuan, I may speak of thee as a traveler doth of Venice. Old Mantuan, who understandeth thee not, loves thee not. Ut, re, sol, la, mi, fa. Under pardon, sir, what are the contents? Or as Horace says in his. What, my soul? Verses?
Aye, sir. Very learned.
Let me hear a stanza, a verse, legend, nomine.
If love make me forsworn, how shall I swear to love? Ah, never faith could hold if not to beauty vowed. Though to myself forsworn, to thee I'll faithful prove. Those thoughts to me were oaks, to thee like osiers bowed. Study his bias leaves, and makes his book thine eyes, where all those pleasures live that art will comprehend. If knowledge be the mark, to know thee shall suffice. Well learned is that tongue that well can thee commend. All ignorant that soul that sees thee without wonder, which is to me some praise that I thy parts admire. Thy eye Jove's lightning bears, thy voice is dreadful thunder, which, not to anger bent, is music and sweet fire. Celestial as thou art, O pardon love this wrong, that sings heaven's praise with such an earthly tongue.
If you find not the apostrophe and so miss the accent, let me supervise the consonant. Here are only numbers ratified, but for the elegance and facility and golden cadence of the poesy, correct. Ovidius not so was the man, why indeed not so, but for the ibdiferous flowers of fancy, the jerks of invention, inventary is nothing. So doth the hound his master, the tired horse's rider, the ape his keeper. But, Damascella Virgin, was this directed towards you?
Aye, sir, one from Monsieur Baron, one of the Queen's strange lords.
I will overglance the superscript. To the snow-white hand of most beauteous Lady Rosaline. I will look again upon the intellect of the letter, for the nomination of the party writing to the person written unto. Your ladyships in all desired employment, Baron. Sir Nathaniel, this Baron is one of the votaries of the king. He hath framed a letter to a sequence of the stranger queens, which accidentally, or by way of progression, hath miscarried. Trip and go, my sweet, deliver this paper to the royal hand of the king. It may concern much. Say not thy compliments, forgive thy duty. Adieu.
Good costard, go with me.
God save your life, sir.
Come with me, my girl.
Sir, you have done this in the fear of God, very religiously, and as a certain father saith.
Sir, tell me not of the father, I do fear colorable colors. But to return to the verses, do they please you, Sir Nathaniel?
Marvelous well for the pen.
I do dine today at the father's of a certain pupil of mine, where, if before it passed, it shall please you to gratify the table with a grace. I will, with the privilege I have, with the parents of the aforesaid child or pupil, undertake your benvenuto, in which I will prove these verses to be very unlearned, neither savoring in wit, poesy, nor invention. I do beseech your society.
And thank you too. For society, say the text, is the happiness of life.
And Chastesse, the text most infallibly concludes it. Sir, I do invite you to, and you may not say me nay. Pauca verba, away! The gentlemen are at their game, and we will to our recreation.